Welcome back to the Our View podcast. On today's episode, I welcome my guest, Maria Abeyratne. Maria and I discuss her clothing brand, Adaptista, and the importance of designers making more adaptive clothing available to those who have disabilities. I would like to welcome everyone to another episode of the Our View podcast, where we aim to educate, raise awareness, and change the tone of conversation about disabilities. I am your host, Arthur Aston, and I'm happy to welcome my guest today, Maria Abeyratne, to the podcast today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, and you did a great job with my surname. So I'm really happy to be here and to be chatting to you.
Yes, I'm very excited. You and I have been connected on social media for months now, and we were, talking about having you on as a guest for the podcast, and you had me write something for your you interviewed me for your blog, and it's just our connection has been like I said, for a few months now. So it's finally nice to finally meet you face to face, though virtually. I'm here in New Jersey, and you are in England, correct?
I am. I'm in lovely grey England with its lovely grey skies and its rain at the moment. Yeah, our lack of summer. You can see I definitely don't have any kind of tan whatsoever. So I'm just desperately hoping for a ray of sunshine one day soon.
Yes, yes. And here in New Jersey, we have lots of rays of sunshine. We had a hurricane, a tropical storm come through over the weekend here.
Oh wow.
But where I was, it wasn't too bad. But up in other parts of North Jersey, closer to New York City, I know they got some heavy rain, really bad. But the sun is out, and it's supposed to be very hot the rest of the week. So um, which has
Oh.
been quite consistent for our summer here. It's been quite warm, so it's that's how summer's supposed to be. So we're not complaining about that too much. I can get to the beach or get to a pool, so that's always fun.
Nice, nice, but
Yes.
I'm jealous.
So, to start off the conversation, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Can you tell us who is Maria?
I'm Maria O'Sullivan Abeyratne. Um, I am from Ireland, as you can probably hear from my accent. Sorry if it's too strong for anybody. I grew up we had a horses stables all my life, so I grew up training horses all my life, and I competed for the Irish dressage team, and I was always very sporty. And in 2013, I moved to England. I moved to London and decided to explore London and everything it had to offer. And it's just been the most joyous place to live ever. It's amazing here. It's such a hive of activity. It's wonderful. Um, but yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Wow, that's great. I love that you say that you were um, raised around horses. I love horses, and uh, I've always said that I want to learn to horseback ride. I went many years ago when I was much younger. But yeah, it's always been like that. I guess the bucket list item to really learn how to horseback ride, and so it's something I'm considering for this this
Ooh,
year
you
and
should do.
beyond. Yeah.
I'm going to back you on that one. And if you ever have any questions, you know where to come.
Yay, thank you. Yeah, I always love hearing what people have to say about themselves and how they, what they choose to share when I ask that question. And I'm always amazed and uh, delighted to see when I have similar interest as some of my guests. So, the horses is a really cool interest of mine as well.
Ah, glad to hear. There's
Yeah.
something very therapeutic about horses. They're so soothing and calming. They're lovely. They're just great animals to be around.
Yes, yes, I definitely agree. I definitely find them very soothing as well. Yeah, that's really that's so true. So, through talking with you, as I said, we've known each other for a couple of months, and we communicated on social media and through email a few times. Uh, I discovered that you have ankylosing spondylitis, right?
That's right.
Yes.
That's really good. Yeah, you got it. I challenged you with my surname, and now I'm challenging you with my diagnosis. It's a day of challenges.
Yes.
Yeah, I was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis in 2017 now. Um, but it's something that I've had. I think the first symptoms probably started when I was around 19. And yeah, I'm just getting on with it. Yes, just have to pick yourself up and keep moving. That's my view. I'm always very stubborn that way. But yeah, it's so ankylosing spondylitis is like a rare autoimmune condition, a rare arthritis. And it affects mainly affects your sacroiliac joints and your hips, but mostly the sacroiliac joints, and causes inflammation in the spine. So you get nerve pain, but it also affects your eyes. You can have iritis. It can affect your lungs, your heart, your joints, your tendons. That's something that bothers me a lot. Um, and I also have osteoarthritis in my neck as well. So sadly, my bones have started to fuse, but gotta keep on trucking.
Yes. Yes, that is that is a common theme amongst those of us in the disability community. It's like, we have these diagnoses and they really throw us for a loop, and they can really cause us such trauma and such pain at times. But
Mm.
like you said, we got to keep on trucking and keep on
Yeah,
keep on getting through the day, and and that can be difficult at times for sure. And it's
definitely.
also, I always like to mention, for me, it's important for me um to acknowledge those really tough days and to take a break, to say like, okay, yeah, I need to chill out today. I can't put my braces on, or I don't feel like going outside today. I just need to lay, on my bed. I need to lay on my floor. I need to just sit and chill and watch a couple of movies, and we'll try it again tomorrow. Uh, so it is,
Definitely.
yeah, it's definitely, important to, stay motivated and all of that, and to keep going. And then also to acknowledge those days where it's like, okay, I need to chill. I need to just sit.
I think with a lot of progressive conditions, and there's so many people out there with arthritis, or maybe even diabetes, and there's so many conditions and autoimmune conditions that are progressive, and I think it sneaks up on you so that you don't actually. There's times, it's only this year that I've really found that I get completely wiped out, and it's because I'm not paying attention to myself. And I really, especially this year, the end of last year, probably due to quarantine and coming out of quarantine, I've really had to focus hard on not over pushing myself and trying to do everything that I used to be able to do. Um, and it's hard. It's really hard. And like you said, it can be really depressing sometimes. Like those days where I sat and just blubbed my little heart out, sitting in front of a Netflix watching a movie, just going, "Oh, I can't do anything. I'm too tired." And you just have to say, well, what's the point in getting upset? Just rest. You are tired, and you're tired for a reason. So yeah, you'll have to shift over on the sofa, and we'll get some movies. We'll have a movie binge together one day.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it is. It's really, and I've said that from a child. I can remember having rough days, and my parents saying, like, okay, that's fine. You can, you can chill out today, and the next day possibly, if that's, if it's still really bothering you. But like, let's keep moving, and that's what actually, it sounds very strange at times, but move for me and my disability, moving actually does help. So,
Yeah.
with the last year and a half of being quarantined and not going out and not moving as much, that really I feel like it set me back a little bit, just to to not be moving and to be as active as I was. It wasn't like I was going out every day, but I was out, I was out of the house and moving, had my braces on or using my wheelchair, 2 or 3 times a week. And then that went to like maybe once a week if I went outside to use, to walk or to use my wheelchair. And that went on for months. So, having that lack of movement really, wasn't good for myself, and as I can imagine, it wasn't good for for a lot of people.
Yeah. Do you find that you're moving more now, or are you locked down over there still in quarantine?
No, so we're not locked down, but just for me personally, I'm I would say I'm being very careful about what I do, where I go, how often I'm outside. Um, I go to the store like once a week, something like that. And then, I go outside, like my friends who have really nice backyards, go and sit in the backyard with them, or go to a cookout, a barbecue, or something like that with family and friends, and just, just slowly but surely getting out and about and around people. But, and just moving. I live in a nice little town, so I will get in my wheelchair and just wheel up and down my street a couple times a week just to stay active. Because I did notice that it was really impacting me. So it was like, okay, I just have to move a little bit and stretch some things out, and we'll, keep everything moving. So, but
In London during quarantine, they actually closed down some of the parks, so you couldn't actually go and because most people here live in apartments, and a lot of people don't have balconies, and then they shut down the parks, and you weren't even allowed if you went outside. You'd be fined if you sat down on a bench at one point. So it was really, really strict here. Thankfully, we're coming out the other side of it, obviously.
mhm.
But yeah, it was hard. I hear that. The lack of movement definitely. It's. I think a lot of people were hit hard by that.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, it's been rough for a lot of people. So. Thankfully, it
Not for
looks like we're coming
Netflix.
through it. Yes, right. It's been great for streaming services.
I think I've watched everything that's on Netflix at this point, maybe twice.
True. Um, so, uh, so you and we connecting through social media. And I got to learn a little bit about you and your story, and I saw that you are into fashion design and garment technology. So, can you tell us the story of how you became interested in those two fields, and what inspired you to become interested in those fields?
Well, it's a bit of a strange one. Um, so I've always loved tailoring, and I think that stems back to the horse riding and the show jackets. I've always been a big fan of tailoring, and I've always wanted to be a tailor. And I went off down the route of law somehow. I've no idea. It's okay. Went down. I'm sorry, any lawyers listening. I went down the boring route. And yeah, hated it as expected. Um, so when I came to London, I was just working in offices here, and I met my wonderful husband John, and when we were getting married, in 2019, I was trying to find a wedding dress, and I could not find a wedding dress at a certain price point in a decent material that was ethical, but also that I could actually get into and out of because of my mobility issues. I struggle with turning and my arms. I'm not very mobile. Um, so it really annoyed me. I have two sisters. So one sister has severe scoliosis, and my other sister was actually she's a para dressage rider, and she was disabled through medical negligence. So I've seen how it can affect people, especially my sister when she was wearing her back brace, and growing up, she's older than me. And it always made me sad because, I used to see her really upset because she couldn't do the things her friends were doing or wear the things her friends were doing. So I think that was also in the back of my mind. And then after the wedding, it got to the point where the many brides listening to this will know exactly what I'm talking about when I say there was about 5 bridesmaids crammed into the toilet trying to help me go to the toilet because I couldn't get out of my wedding dress or managed to go to the toilet. So it was absolutely hilarious, the wedding, and I just thought there has to be a better way. So I went back exactly 4 weeks after my wedding to study fashion design, and I it's the British Academy of Fashion Design, and I loved it, really loved it. With that, there's a lot of pattern making, pattern drafting, and I started draping and toying around with garments and seeing what I could make work, and then started doing a huge amount of research. So I've been researching now for crikey, yeah, since probably I'd say late 2019. Um, and with my family as well, my family history, I kind of knew what was needed, and I knew personally what I needed. So yeah, I've started designing some clothes, which I'm hoping to launch next year. Fingers crossed. And it's exciting. It's really exciting. Terrifying, I would say.
So that is so it was a mixture of your own experience from you personally, and then also from your sister's experience of
Yeah.
finding clothing very difficult to wear, to put on because of mobility issues,
Yes.
and you wanting to make that change, making a change. A need.
Yeah.
There's a need for something that you didn't see that was available. So, you said you would create your own. That is always such a great stories when people see something that's missing and say like, okay, well, I have this knowledge and I have this skill set, so let's try to fix it. So that is
Yeah.
yeah, that's so great. That's so great.
I saw the way I looked at it is that I'm an old school punk. I love uh, maybe not so much anymore because I'm limited to what I can wear unless I make it myself, and then I'm too busy trying to design other things to make things for myself. So, um, but yeah, I that there's no subculture wear in adaptive fashion. Um, there's so many things missing, and it just baffles me how, like, the fashion industry has been around since the dawn of time. Well, not the industry, maybe, but you know what I mean. Clothes have been around since the cavemen wore um, animal skins, and it's how it's not developed that people don't design for people with disabilities. Just baffles me. So hopefully, yeah, I'm really excited to launch this. Nervous and excited.
Yes. So what you're referring to is the clothing line that you started at Adaptista. So which is so exciting. I
Yes.
was so happy and excited to see uh the messages from you about what you were creating, and I'm excited to see it come to life for you. next year, as you said. Can you tell us what we can expect from the Adaptista clothing line?
Yeah, so for the clothing line, it's going to be um, there's actually a few different collections. One of them, I'm going to make you blush, is a sex positive line of fetish and bondage wear. Yeah, and it's designed specifically for people that use wheelchairs. There's then a kind of there's a subculture line just because of my own preference. I wanted to make some kind of goth punk style, and then there's also going to be some evening wear, and very excitingly, wedding line, which I am most excited about, and which started off. That's from my story. It's my baby. It's where I want. It's what I want to do. It's what I want to create, and that's how Adaptista began initially. So all exciting.
It's all very exciting, and I love the wedding line because someone just a few weeks ago sent me a picture of someone of a wedding dress shop that had a mannequin that was seated in a wheelchair with
That's right.
yeah, that was sitting in a wheelchair wearing a wedding dress. So it's like that is I don't know if that specific dress was considered to be adaptive clothing, but just the fact to see uh, that they thought of putting the mannequin in a wheelchair in their front window is like a really great thing. And
Yeah.
even even like you said with the fetish and the bondage wear, it's like people with disabilities love all kinds of things. They like to get married, and they are sexually active people, and it's like all areas of clothing and all areas of any industry should reflect that people with disabilities are our potential customers and clients.
Yeah.
So I think it's great that you are, addressing all three of those specific areas in the clothing world, because people with disabilities um, will be customers for all three of those. So it's really great that you have taken on this mission of creating this adaptive clothing line. And again, I can't wait. Really excited to see it come to life for you, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, I really hope I can, make people proud of, I really want to make people happy, especially for the wedding line, because, it's the most important day of someone's life, or maybe 2 days if they get married twice, you never know.
That's
It's,
right. That's right.
um, don't put a limit on it.
That's right.
So yeah, I had a terrible experience when I was trying to find my dress, and I don't want someone else to go through that. It would make me really sad to think that people have to go through that, and knowing the limitations of what's the options out there and the cost at the moment. It's so expensive for someone in a wheelchair to have a dress, altered to fit. It's phenomenal. So yeah, I've put in a patent. So I have a patent pending at the moment for these designs. It's for a part of the designs, and hopefully, if that comes through, it's going to be something that is has not been done before. In the adaptive market, and that will hopefully make life a lot easier and more sustainable for people in the future. I can't go into too much detail about it, but yeah, I just fingers crossed it's going to be really exciting, and I can't wait to show everyone.
Yeah, that's just so great. And um, again, like you said, with the cost that is associated with tailoring certain things for people with
Yeah,
disabilities, it can be it can really add up. I mean, it can add up for anybody, and especially for people with disabilities, because you have uh, certain conditions where they might wear prosthetics on one or both legs, and so it
yeah,
might fit in the hip area, but the leg area is way too big, or something like
yeah,
that. So the unique tailoring that has to take place for people with certain disabilities, it can really jack up the price. And even the clothing lines that exist now that have an adaptive clothing lines, their clothing, it's great. It looks really great, but it can be very expensive.
Yeah,
Um, so it's just like, I think, as with most things, as it becomes more common, hopefully those prices will be lowered. Um, as more people get into creating adaptive clothing lines, and uh, maybe that will help with the price. But as now there's a handful of companies that offer adaptive clothing, so they can make the prices whatever they want at this point. But hopefully as time goes on, that those prices will continue to drop and become more affordable for the people who actually need them, who are often on fixed incomes because of their disabilities. So
that's
that
right.
yeah, that always amazes me, where it's just like, oh yeah, we have this product for people with disabilities, and it's this much money, and it's so much money, and it's just like, yeah, but if I'm on government assistance and I can't afford that, then it's just sitting there in your in your studio, not being able to be purchased because it's so much money. So it's great that you're
Definitely.
yeah, it's great that you're doing that, and creating something that will be much needed, and it's necessary for the disabled community.
I think with the pricing, so a lot of the companies, like for example, Nike, I'm a huge fan of Nike and the Fly Ease shoes that they made. And everyone complained about, how expensive they were. And yeah, they were expensive. But you also have to balance it out with the fact that they're going into a new market, an unexplored market, and then they have to do all the testing. So I explained to someone recently that the very first product is always going to be more expensive because there's the testing and checking the materials, and they're going into a market where they don't even know if people will like it. Will people buy it? So now that they know it's hugely popular, hopefully the next time they make it now, because they've done the testing, that will make the prices come down and down. So yeah, I think the more that adaptive fashion becomes the norm, or the mainstream, or people start, implementing things, like it still baffles me why people don't just put magnetic zips into clothing in place of, like, they're the exact same thing, but one has a magnet. It just baffles me that companies don't take advantage of that. And yeah, but so with Adaptista, it's going to be a platform, a multi-brand platform uh, sorry, it's going to be a multi-brand platform for the adaptive market. But what we're going to do is it's going to be customer led, so that there's going to be, the brands will have access to the customers to speak and to educate them. There's going to be a lot of education on how brands can improve their lines to bring costs down, maybe look at their, the amount of ordering that they're doing, um, looking at the circularity of the fashion, and is it ethical as well at the same time, that there's no slave labor involved. So yeah, there's a whole lot work that needs to be done in the adaptive market, but it's moving in the right direction, which is exciting. In this year alone, the amount of brands that have popped up is phenomenal. There's so many. The only fear is that there's brands that, um, kind of, let's say, jump on the bandwagon because it's the hot topic, and they don't do any research and they don't have any knowledge, and they just make things to put it out there, to say that they're being inclusive. So that's the only fear, but it seems to be really good at the moment. I don't know if how you find it with your shopping.
It's very difficult. Like for me, thankfully, I'm able to use things like zippers, and able to button and things like that. But yeah, like just searching for things, it's really it can be very difficult. And again, going back to, purchasing like formal wear or something you would wear to a wedding or a nice night out. It's like, yeah, it's hard to find something because I wear braces. So,
Yeah.
my waist size is one size, but my braces are, twice as, really big. So it's getting the right size in the waist and then also the pant length and it's just um, can be very, very challenging at times, to find the proper fit. So it's great to have all of these brands that are creating adaptive clothing. And also, as you said, um, making sure that they're doing it for the right reason and not just
Yeah.
because it's the hot topic, it's the latest thing to do, and everybody's doing it kind of thing. Really put in the work and research and find out what is needed and what is really beneficial to those who will actually be wearing that clothing is such an important piece there because it's it's like with anything that you start, you want to do the research to find out um, what your who your audience is and what it is that they need. So it's like you're creating the right things again for the right reasons. That's so important uh,
Mm.
because it doesn't make sense to create something that's like not going to that's not going to be able to work for people who actually need it. So it's that's so important that you mentioned that.
There's another side as well, and I think it's because there's slowly becoming more inclusion in the workplace, and especially in universities, and all the fashion colleges are now usually teaching a little bit about there still needs to be more, but they're teaching a little bit about adaptive fashion and inclusive fashion. So I think that as the years progress, you're going to see more incredible talent coming up. People with various disabilities coming through the ranks and working their way up into or studying to become designers. So as that happens, and as I think it's really there's going to be a lot of change, especially I think in technology. Um, there's some incredible things being done in technology at the moment. That's where I geek out. I love anything to do with tech. So yeah, this as people are studying and as people are learning, there's going to be so much more creativity. I'm very excited for about 2 or 3 years time. I'm really excited to see what's going to be out there. I think there's going to be a big change in the next 3 years.
Yeah, that would
Yay.
be great to see. It's so great to see. It's always great as time goes on and the things that improve over time.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to see what's out there now and to see to anticipate what is to come. So that's very exciting. Um, so to wrap up our conversation, what advice could you give to clothing designers who are looking to make more adaptive clothing?
It's really basic advice I would give them. Put yourself in the body of someone with a disability. Sit there, sit somewhere quiet, close your eyes, imagine what it would be like to do certain things, like what it would be like if you have limb difference, what it would be like if you're blind. A lot of brands are forgetting about blindness and not using braille tags, and that also needs to change. What would happen if you struggled with mobility? How do you measure your size? How do you know what's the right fit? Seated fashion, how could you make it more comfortable? There's so many things that you can think about. I would also say just to try and focus on one problem, try and develop that, then focus on another part and try and develop that. Don't try and do everything at once, because nobody can do everything all at once, unfortunately. As much as we all want to, it would be great, but sadly, no. Um, and yeah, just ask questions, talk to people, ask questions constantly, read, and research. Um, if anyone's listening and wants any advice, I'm always you can always reach out. I'm happy to give advice to anyone to design. If I can help in any way, I will. I want to see design improve, and I want to see more of it. So yeah, hopefully that might help someone. But it's really basic. Just put yourself in that position.
Yes, and also what you said is to ask the questions. And for me, it's really important for whatever work that you're doing to get the people that you're serving, get those people involved, get the disability community involved. Again,
Yeah.
ask someone who has a mobility disability or blindness, and what it is that they need, what do they feel is missing in clothing of today, and hire a disability consultant, someone who actually has a disability who can um, challenge you to say, like, oh, but you didn't mention this, or you didn't think about this group of individuals. I think that is always so important. And I always say that, like, architects and people in construction that actually build buildings, sometimes you go into a building, and as a wheelchair user, I'm like, who in the world designed this ramp? And how is this safe? How is this legal? Number one. And it's just like, who, obviously somebody in a wheelchair did not design this.
Yeah. There's been no questions asked at any point
Right.
ever.
And it's just like, yes, here in America, we have the Americans with Disabilities Act, and it says that ramps should be at a certain slope and every, but that is not always a safe thing. Like, you have to really consider, and you really have to, take that step of having someone with a disability, whatever the disability is, try out these things and say, like, okay, this is not going to work. Again, like, this is not safe, or or in a way of, for clothing as a reference, it's like, okay, this is difficult to use as a person who is blind, or a person who has issues with maybe arthritis or something in their hands. Like, it's difficult to button or to use the snaps, or whatever it may be for your clothing. So it's important to get your consumers involved in the discussion, in the planning. And again, like you said, don't try to do everything at once. Focus on one or two things at a time, and let the other things come as they will. So, Maria, it's been great. Again, it's been great talking to you. It's been great to meet you virtually, face to face, and I really enjoyed this conversation. And thank you for your time. And I wish you all of the best with the Adaptista clothing line. Can you just share with people where they can find you, how they can reach out to you on social media?
Yeah, sure. So it's adaptista.com. So that's Adaptista, like fashionista, but adaptive. Um, so it's adaptista.com, and we're on all socials, Instagram, Twitter. Um, you can also track me down. I have a personal account on Twitter, and you can throw me questions on there if you want to. Always up for a challenge. I should add that just on the design, next year I've decided that we've agreed to sponsor a disabled student to do a fashion design degree. Um, so that's really, 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 really exciting. So keep an eye out for that. And it's also going to be a distance learning one. It's a distance learning degree that someone can do from home if they're having issues with, mobility or access or travel, or yeah. So keep an eye out, and I'll keep you posted. All right. And yeah, long live the designers of the future.
Yes, I that is so great about offering that opportunity to a student. It's I think everybody has certain dreams and certain things they want to fulfill in life, and then at times they just feel like there's no way to make it happen. So I think that is
Mm.
a really great thing that you're doing, and really really important. So, again, this was a great conversation, and I'm glad to have connected with you and gave you a chance to share your story here on the podcast. And I look forward to staying in touch with you soon.
Likewise, thank you, Art. It's
Yes,
been awesome.
yes, you're welcome. And have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.